one of the largest mall acquisitions in India. Recently got acquired by Blackstone for 30 to 50 crores. This did not happen in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, but in Calcutta. Real estate is not just about buildings. It's about the decisions that shape a city, the capital, and the culture behind it. In the Masters, we speak to industry leaders who have built what everyone studies. Each episode covers various facets of the real estate industry, from design to finance, from structure to execution. I'm Akhil Saraf, and this is The Master. So today we have Mr. Pradeep Sureka with us. He was part of this consortium that owns the South City Mall in Calcutta. This mall recently got acquired by Blackstone for 30 to 50 crores, which makes it one of the largest mall acquisitions in India. This did not happen in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, but in Calcutta. So we have Mr. Sureka here today to tell us more about the deal and give us some insights into what goes into building a great mall. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Akhil.
So can you tell us more about the deal?
No, this was a rare deal. We have been toying about this deal for last 5-6 years. Before COVID put a stop to it. Then COVID changed the dynamics of retail. After COVID, we suddenly found the retail market booming. And South City, being a consortium of 6 builders, started in the year 2000. So now there was an opportunity to either put up another mall or to exit from the mall.
Right.
And we thought it was a good opportune moment, and when Blackstone gave us a offer, which we thought we would consider. Also, there was a little bit changes in the tax laws in the country, which helped us take that decision forward. So in the end, it was a deal which is rare because the consortium partners were happy, Blackstone was happy. So it was a really very healthy transaction. So that's how the deal happened. So it, of course, took us about a year's time to go through the due diligence and satisfy each other. But in the end, I think we all ended up with a smile on our face.
That's a rare thing in deal making, right? Like where both sides are happy is almost unheard of. So tell us more about what goes into a buyer's mind when they're evaluating an asset beyond the cash flow, right? Like a Blackstone pedigree buyer.
Well, they have a different game plan. I mean, it's not like an HNI tried to buy an asset.
Right.
There is a difference between an HNI trying to buy an asset versus a fund trying to buy an asset.
Right.
Their cost of money, their approach, their strengths are different than an HNI. So when Blackstone evaluated this mall, they were looking at expanding their total retail portfolio of Nexus, which is their retail brand, which they are trying to grow across the country. And they were, of course, looking at something which was a marquee asset in the eastern part of the country.
Right.
And, of course, South City was the best mall in the eastern part of the country. So I'm sure they were willing to pay a little premium, and they were really hungry to get this mall. So that's how it happened. And I think that's what the reason was behind today.
Right.
That, something which is healthy, growing, will last you longer.
Absolutely. So in terms of building an asset that is exitable, right? Like to an institution and not an HNI, right? What goes into that, especially given that you were part of a consortium, there were 6 different builders. How do you keep everyone on the same page with that mindset that, one day we're going to exit?
No, as I said, that the 6 consortium partners, we've been working for about 25 years together. And we still own a hotel and a school. We still have one project going on. We're just completing an industrial park under the banner. So it's not that there has been any misunderstanding. Rather, it had been a healthy, unanimous decision to exit from the mall, exit from Colombo, exit from Dubai, our international assets. So this was a well discussed, well thought of decision, unanimously taken by the board. Here there was a time where the 6 people, unfortunately one of them, Mr. Todi, is no more. He passed away a few years back. So all the people, some of them are 75, 85. So the next generations have come in. Next generations may not be in real estate, may have diverse interests. So it made practical sense to encash on certain assets and allow the next generation to take their own decisions, take their own paths in life. Why should we burden them with the past? We should rather let them enjoy the good deeds of the past. Right? So those were the reasons behind the exit of this. As far as building an asset which is exitable, I think everything is exitable. Whether you can exit a mall at 100 plus or 100 minus, that depends on your quality. Like, you have to create quality first. If you create quality, it is always exitable.
I want to deep dive into this quality of a mall, right? How do you build the persona of the catchment, right? And what are their needs, and how do you build the retail offerings as per the catchment?
Well, there is a bit of a lot of effort which goes behind it. In the 15 years of us running the mall, we have been doing capex on this mall as we have gone along. We have supported our retailers in difficult financial times, during COVID times. We have politely exited retailers who were not doing well. We have right-sized certain retailers, repositioned them. So we kept track of each retailer as to how he is performing, what he needs to do. Some people we have a little long-term vision with, long-term leases with. So we need to keep having a dialogue with them as to what they need to do, what they did not to do. So you have to maintain. We don't want any broken teeth in the body.
Right.
We don't want any harmful areas in the body. So when we did a total renovation,
Okay. How do you time that? How do you know what is the right time to do a large capex, or just sweat out the asset that's been created?
well, let's say that we did get it valued before we did our total renovation. That time we were getting a valuation of 2,000.
Okay.
And you just mentioned the figure at the beginning.
Right.
So that's the appreciation we could do by spending maybe about 150 crores on the mall.
That's
So
phenomenal.
that was, as you rightly said, that what you study in books and what we do in real life are different
Right.
sometimes. So that was a collective decision again, that there was an opportunity to expand the mall a little,
Right.
to grow the mall a little. Even when we did the mall in the beginning, it is a very interesting story. We had already completed the piling of on the design which we had
Okay.
of the mall. And then our team, including me, Mr. Mata, Mr. Khedawat, we visited 8 or 10 malls across the world.
Okay.
And we went and saw some of the malls which were not successful,
Interesting.
to see what they were doing wrong. What is good is always so easy. What is bad is so difficult to study. So we went and actually saw Times Square Mall in Kuala Lumpur, 10 stories. You even had a metro going through a mall,
Okay.
but it was totally empty.
Okay. How did South City do this differently?
So then we went to Dubai, and then we realized that what statutorily the parking requirement, which we were required to give,
Right.
was not going to be sufficient if I want that sort of footfall in my mall. So we doubled our parking of what the statutory requirement was. I went and saw the movement in a hypermarket in Mindspace in Mumbai, Malad. And I came back and we totally redesigned the entire entry exit of back of the house. So I think, most of the builders try to maximize profit in the front end, but you have to have a balance and maximize profit from the back end also.
Well, that's why.
So we haven't entirely, because there were 80 LCVs which move in a day to feed a hypermarket.
Okay.
Now I can't mix that with my customers going in and out.
Right.
The day the mall is doing really very well, when the customers are most, that's the time when my LCVs also need to come in.
Right.
So we have a separate basement, separate entry exit ramp to the hypermarket, to the delivery and the mall. And then we went to an architect which specializes in malls.
Okay.
So the architect from South Africa who did the malls came and redesigned. We stopped the construction at the piling stage. They redesigned the mall. And the success story of South City is there right in front of you today.
That's quite a bold decision, right? Turning footfall to revenue is a very interesting arc, right? That you spoke of the back end and building the logistics to handle that footfall in, right? Now, the audience is a real estate first audience. So they understand that rental income comes in, of course, advertisement comes in, of course, right? What are some of the other ways you monetize that footfall?
No, it's a vicious cycle. I mean, if you're referring to converting a footfall into actual revenue, then everybody has to play a role. I have to create an atmosphere in the mall that a customer comes in, he doesn't want to leave, because today entering a mall is like an entertainment.
Right.
When we started the mall, the F&B and entertainment was 15 to 20%.
It
Today we are about 30 plus.
interesting.
So food, F&B, entertainment has started playing a big role. So a person coming to a mall, how can I attract him to stay in my mall for a long time?
Interesting.
How do I make him feel happy in a mall?
Interesting.
If I feel happy, I might go and buy something. But if I walk in and I say, "Acha picture acha nahi hai, chalo nikalte,"
Right.
and I have not even seen the full film, आधे घंटे में निकल गए.
Right.
But if I make a film interesting, he will stay for 3.5 hours. And then, as I said, we look at the performance of every retailer. We keep a track of what his sales are, what is his moving, not moving. So retailer has a very important role to play, to convert how his displays are there. We had certain restrictions on the shop fronts in the beginning. When we realized, we pivoted,
Okay.
because in 10 years, the world is changing very fast. The ecommerce came in.
Right.
So how do you, it's a hospitality business. It's a hospitality business with an open door.
Interesting.
A hotel or a restaurant can write rights of admission reserved.
Right.
Here I can't write rights of admission reserved. So it's an open
Right.
door policy where we have to understand the diaspora which comes there. What do they require? So like we never positioned ourselves as a high-end mall.
Okay.
We don't have any Pradas and the Burberrys and the Louis Vuittons there.
Right.
But we have the only Zara
Right.
in town. We have the largest Marks and Spencers there.
Interesting.
So we positioned our brands accordingly. But what is my diaspora which likes to come here, which likes to spend time here?
Right. Very interesting. I want to ask you about the e-commerce angle that you just mentioned, right? How did e-commerce affect the mall business?
Well, fortunately, it has not affected us much. Whatever e-commerce they do is not from our gates.
Right.
They have to do it from their godowns and their other stores. So we don't allow, as long as the mall was under us, we did not allow e-commerce to happen from, people couldn't stock e-commerce goods there.
Okay.
So that allowed them to put stuff which was moving in the or from the shelves to the customer directly.
Right.
But of course, e-commerce is happening. And that is the other reason why if you see F&B entertainment is starting taking a larger position
Right.
in a mall.
Right. Does this fit into the initial buyer persona that we spoke of? That the local catchment is looking for entertainment, so automatically they are coming into the mall, and with that, eventually shopping?
Of course. I mean, there are certain activities. You see, a mall is like an Emirates flight. It goes to the same destination. Somebody is paying 5 lakhs for one ticket and somebody is paying 20,000 rupees for the same seat.
Right.
So in this mall also, we have to have a mix
Right.
of tenants. It's not just that ki Akhil can pay me, so I'll get Akhil in.
Right.
What's your brand? What's your product? What you can afford? If you can afford 100 rupees, and if I want your product in the mall, I'll let you come at 100.
Interesting.
And there would be somebody who's paying 400 also.
Interesting. Right. Of course.
So as a mall operator, I must decide, as I again repeat, that it is a hospitality sort of a business.
Right.
Every nook and corner of a hotel doesn't make money.
Of course.
But every nook and corner of a hotel serves to the pleasure and the comfort of a customer.
Absolutely.
Gives him a full, I mean, I may not go to a gym, but the gym is there
Right.
to use.
Right. Right. That's very interesting. So, if people were to build a mall today, what would your advice be to them? What are the do's and don'ts that you need to look out for when you're building today for the next 20 years?
Never sell.
Okay.
Never sell a space in a mall.
Okay.
You have to keep the tenants in your control. Their performances has to be monitored, what their approach is to the mall. So that's the first thing you have to do. Look at the back of the house. It's very, very important to make back of the house your infrastructure, your parking, your entry exits, fire. All those safety factors are very, very important.
Right.
Then, of course, your shop fronts. You have to make sure there are no dark alleys, there are no dead ends in a mall. It must. I've seen some malls which have, there are alleys which are totally empty.
Okay.
I've gone and seen malls across the world with best of malls, but they're empty. Because you don't want to go into that alley because that alley ends. It's a dead end. Or, it's leading into something which is not very attractive. So it's very important to keep a mall. So efficiency is very important. Tenant mix is very important. And then, of course, you have to see where you are placing a mall.
Right. Location.
No, which city, which is your location, what is the catchment area. Normally, a mall of the size of South City would cater to something which is within about 10 kilometers, 7 to 8, 10 kilometers.
Okay.
Our regular catchment is that. Of course, the movie hall is one of the best movie halls in town. So people do come from far.
Right.
Rather, one cousin of once told me that his friends came from outside Calcutta and they said, we have to visit South City Mall. So I said, okay, it is good that South City Mall is on the tourist map. So that made me happy. I mean, when we go abroad, we go to the Dubai Mall, we want to go to Paragon, we go to... So it's the same for other people when they come here. The people who come from Jamshedpur or Bangladesh or Orissa or Guwahati, they like to come and spend time and money in the South City Mall.
That's phenomenal, right? Thank you for this insightful session. I think we learned a lot in this very short span. Appreciate you taking the time, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Akhil. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Lovely.